Hello there, guys. I made this video already once and had a bunch of problems with it being too long, so now I'm just gonna try and do it quickly. So here you go. Right here at the beginning, I just want to point out to you guys a simple idea that an equation is just, in our case, a mathematical statement. Right, a mathematical statement where one thing equals another. So just kind of letting you know an equation doesn't have to have letters or variables, right? And then one more thing about equations, right? It's whatever's on this side. If there's an equal sign here, definitely better equal what's on this side. So in this case, 2 plus 3 is 5, right? And then 1 plus 4 is 5. So yes, both sides are equal, but when we don't know, like these problems down here, we don't know necessarily what the answer is. We we can still understand that it's equal, and we can kind of use that idea, right? Use the idea that both sides are equal to help us solve. So anyhow, let me move along. One more thought here, keeping an equation balanced, right? So 2 plus 3 is 5, 1 plus 4 is 5, and as long as you do like the same thing to both sides, right, you can actually do whatever you want to an equation, and it'll stay true. So I'm adding a -1 there. So if I add a -1 on, sorry, this trackpad is kind of a pain to write with. So anyhow, if you add a -1 to both sides, again, you can do the math, right? 2 plus 3 is 5, and then 5 minus 1 is 4. Over on this side, 1 plus 4 is 5, and then 5 minus 1 is also 4. So the point is that it was equal to begin with, and if as long as I do the same exact thing to both sides, it stays equal. So that kind of somewhat answers all those questions. Remember, inverse operations, they're just opposites. So again, inverse operations are opposite operations. So operations that would be inverses would be multiplication and division. Those are inverses, they're opposites. Addition and subtraction, right? Opposites. So let me get into this. So remember, when you guys are solving an equation, the whole point is to get the variable by itself, which is the answer to number 2 here. So again, whole point is to get the variable by itself. So want to get n by itself. Drawing a line down from where the equal sign is a strategy that helps. Some students like it, so I'm going to draw that line down the middle, and I'm sorry, I got a little ahead of myself here. And I'm trying to get n by itself, and so the reason I'm subtracting 9 here is because if I do that, then 9 minus 9 will be 0. When this zeroes out, n is still left over, and I'm done. I solved my equation, right, once the variable's by itself. So again, all I had to do was get everything that was on the same side of the equation with n. I had to get it away from n, so the way I did that was by doing the opposite of plus 9, subtracting 9, and then -6 minus 9 is -15, so there's that one. Over here, have v minus 1.8 equals -5, guys. Again, remember, your two sides of your equal sign can be shown by just drawing a line from the equal sign. Here you have your right side and your left side. Your variable's on the left, v, you want it by itself, so minus 1.8's got to go, so the opposite of minus 1.8 is plus 1.8, and that will zero out the 1.8, right? This will be 0, so I'll just have v left on this side. Then over here, right, if I add 1.8 to one side, I have to add 1.8 to both sides. So in doing so, v equals -5 plus 1.8 is actually going to stay negative. It's going to be -3.2. So there's that one. Okay, guys, so in order for me to do the notes here on the trackpad, I just, every time I move the paper up, let's say, every time I move the notes up, it erases the writing. So just to let you know, you can rewind it to see anything you want to see. So right here I have 15 equals -0.15x, and remember, this is -0.15 times x, so the opposite of multiplying, right? Opposite of multiplying is dividing. So if you just divide by, whoops, this is supposed to be a decimal here, sorry about that. If you just divide both sides by 0.15, right? That'll get your variable by itself, right? So that's what you want to do. Get your x or whatever letter you want to get it isolated. And dang it, sorry guys, that's supposed to be an equal sign there, believe it or not. So this side cancels out. You end up with 1x or just x. On this side, when you divide by negative 0.15, right? Because whatever you do to one side, you got to do to the other side. When you divide this side by negative 0.15, it actually is, first of all, you have a positive number divided by a negative number. That's going to be negative. And if you punch 15 divided by 0.15 in on a calculator, you will get 100. You can also do that using mental math because they both have 15. Since the decimal here is, 2 decimal places, then you basically would know you'd have 2 zeros there. Moving along here, you have b divided by 4 equals negative 9. Well, if b is getting divided by 4, then you would want to multiply by 4 to get b by itself, right? If you multiply both sides by 4, on over here the 4's cancel and you have b by itself. Sorry, I forgot to draw the line. There you go. So multiplying both sides by 4, I get b by itself, and I get negative 9 times 4, that is negative 36. And I'm going to keep going, guys, because, again, like I said, last video was way too long, so I have to be less chatty, I guess. Anyhow, these are two-step equations, guys. Two-step equations. First thing you want to do is undo adding or subtracting, right? First, undo. I'm just going to put plus minus because, again, I just got to be a little quicker. So undo adding and subtracting first, and second, in fact, let's get a different color real quick. Second thing you want to do is undo any multiplying or dividing. So again, they're two-step equations, so you just have 2 steps. Second thing is undo any multiplying or dividing. So so there you go. So first thing I'm going to do is undo adding and subtracting. Second, undo multiplying or dividing. Remember, check your equation, right? Check where your equal sign is. That way you have your right side and your left side distinctly separated, at least in our mind and, a little bit physically. Either way, so you separate left and right. Undo adding and subtracting first, guys. That means, right, let me back up a little. Variables here. So what you want to do is get x by itself. What you have in your way is a minus 43 and a minus 6. So if you're undoing adding and subtracting first, you guys, it's plus 43, right? So 43 is just a constant. It is being subtracted, so if you add it, right, if you do the opposite, it'll zero out. On this side, if you add 43, it's actually subtraction because negative 118 plus 43, right? Negative and positive you subtract. We'll get that done right now. On this side, remember it's zeroed out, still bring down the negative 6x. Right, that should come on down for the right. And over here, again, remember it's subtraction. Use a calculator if you need to, or if you can do it by hand, that's obviously all good. 118 minus 43, so it's 75, but it should be a negative 75 because 118's greater than 43, and it's negative, so we have a negative 75 here. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 6 and see what I get. Negative 75 divided by negative 6, that's definitely going to be a positive number. A negative number divided by a negative number is a positive number, so I know that. And 75 divided by negative 6 is actually 12.5. So this is going to be positive 12.5. Again, remember I already did these notes and then I had a huge problem and I ended up unable to save the video. So anyhow, x equals positive 12.5 on this one. And the point of telling you that is I'm just getting real sloppy here because I guess because I've been on here for so long. Anyhow. Alright guys, so keep going here. This is actually the last one for this video. The rest is going to be on another video. So this one here is 3 equals x over 2 plus 1. Remember, this is actually x divided by 2 because fractions are dividing. So 3 equals x divided by 2 plus 1. You have your left side and your right side. Your variable's clearly on your right side, and you need to get it by itself. So you're going to want to get rid of the 1 and the 2. And what you're going to want to do first is subtract 1, because remember, the most efficient or proper steps are first undo adding and subtracting. So there's, you undo that first. That zeroes out, right? X divided by 2 is still there, so bring that down. And 3 minus 1 is 2. Don't forget your equal sign. And then here again, this is x divided by 2. So what you're going to want to do to get x by itself is the opposite of dividing by 2, multiply by 2, and that will cancel out. So you'll have x by itself. And in order to keep your equation true and balanced, whatever you do to one side, do to the other side. So multiply this side by 2. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 equals x. And there's your 2 steps, done deal. So again, I'm going to go ahead and end this video, and then the rest of these problems are done in a separate video. Thanks, guys.